Coming up on the show, want to get around paying for Wi-Fi at the airport? Can you resolve DNS? We head over to Mubix's lair to learn about SSH tunneling over DNS. Then stick around for our interview with Tyler McAdams, LinuxDNA developer, and find out how this custom distro is changing gaming on Linux. All that and more on this episode of Hack 5. This episode of Hack 5 is brought to you by GoDaddy, Netflix, Squarespace, and viewers like you. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Hack 5. I know it's a little bit different from your usual episodes, but keep in mind we do have awesome content. And next week, we have been working on this great project for you, which I'm sure you're going to love. So make sure you watch that episode. First off, I did want to thank our viewer Ian, who has put together an entire torrent list of all of our old episodes. I know a lot of viewers have been asking for that, so we finally got it for you right here. First, I'm going to kick it over to Mubix at Mubix's secretive lair, but I also have to thank our sponsor, Netflix. With Netflix, you can rent over 90,000 titles online, including lots of Blu-ray titles with free shipping both ways to your home. They now have over 40 shipping centers, so almost all deliveries happen in just one business day. Netflix plans start at $4.99, and as a new member, you can get a no-risk 2-week free trial membership. Check it out at netflix.com/hack5, and please don't forget the WWWs. Let's shoot it off over to Mubix.
So have you ever been at like an airport or a coffee shop or somewhere where they've got Wi-Fi but it's not free? You try to go somewhere and it takes you to this portal page or wants you to like sign up or pay 15 bucks or some crap like that. And you want to get online with one of these or one of these. Well, we're going to show you how to tunnel through DNS to get your traffic on and bypass those pesky restrictions and figure out how we've come down to Mubix's lair. So Mubix, what is this all about?
It's real simple. Once you get everything set up, it's point and click, one-liner. So what you start off with is checking at your hotspot or some other places that we might talk about later. But back to that hotspot. Go on google.com, bam. Damn it, I gotta pay. Not quite. So just to make sure this all will work, we open up our command prompt or shell and ping Google. Comes back with an IP. We're in.
Nifty, but what kind of software are we going to need to put this together?
So the great thing about this is it's cross-platform. And Linux, Windows, Mac OS, you can use it on all of them. As long as you have SSH, a cool set of Perl scripts called Ozyman, a domain, and a little bit of luck.
Excellent. I'm excited about putting this together. So let's go ahead and set up our DNS first, right?
All right, so we got to set up the server side first. And what the server side is a actual name server, but it's tunneling DNS instead of doing lookups or reverse lookups or anything like that. It's letting us through our server at home from wherever we are behind the hotspot. And how we set that up is we get a domain or a subdomain of something we already have. Or DNS, I think, allows you to set name servers up. And then point it towards wherever our server is running, our name server, our tunneling server is working. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to show you how to do that. So we're here in GoDaddy.com's domain manager and for crack5.org, and you can see that the name servers are set up for NS47 and NS48 of domaincontrol.com. And all we have to do in here is really just change the name servers for it so it's pointing somewhere else. We do that by clicking name servers, going to custom name servers, and we're going to change the name servers to something we already set up for our home IP address in DNS. So it's Mubix my.home.dns.org and Mubix my.blog.dns.org. They're set up. They both point to the same IP, so it's going to work, hopefully, and okay. So we got our name servers set up, and we have Perl set with the correct modules, and we'll have those in the show notes. There's just 2 of them that you have to make it work. And we downloaded Dan Kaminsky's Ozyman. So Ozyman is great because that's all you need to get it working, and it's just Perl scripts. So we're going to show you how to set it up on the server side now that you've set up your name servers and port forwarded that Linksys so that 53 is coming on through. All right, so we've downloaded Ozyman and we put it in its own directory. And we're just going to run it with, we're going to run the nomd Perl script. That's our server. So we tell it the interface, IP 0.0.0.0. That's for everything, just cover all bases. And then we put crack5.org. And that's it. You hit enter. It's listening on port 53, TCP and UDP, and waiting for connections. So we're at the hotspot. We connect to their wireless. They want us to pay $9.99 an hour. That's BS. Let's ping, see if we can get through our DNS tunnel. Ping. We get an IP back. No ICMP replies, but that's fine. We're just looking for DNS to work. So then we have our Perl scripts already on our Linux box that we have going, because we run it in Linux, right? All right. It works on Windows too. And all we have to do from there is SSH. SSH with a little bit of a command, our proxy command added onto it. So SSH, TAC D, to tell it what port we're going to listen on our SOCKS proxy for, TAC C, TAC O, proxy command. This is the important part. Root / and then you tell it where the droot Perl script is. That's the other one. So there's the two Perl scripts, the server one and the client one. Droot's the client, nomd is the server. And then right here we're going to do a subdomain of our forwarded domain. So we're going to type SSH DNS so that, or DNS, so that we have a subdomain of the domain we set up, crack5.org. And then you tell it what SSH server to connect to. So I'm going to connect to the one that I already have going, because you have to have a DNS server to connect to for your SSH tunnel to work, your DNS tunnel to work. Hit, works, we're all set. Now we have a proxy going. All right, so now we set up our browser. We go into Edit, Preferences, go over to the Advanced tab, under Network, under Settings, Use Manual Proxy, go down to SOCKS. We're going to say 127.0.0.1, port 8080, like we set up. Hit OK, and that should be it. We should be able to get to google.com without having to pay. If I wasn't in an offline mode. Try again. Ta-da! Google.com. All right, so we've shown you how to tunnel your traffic over DNS, over SSH tunnel, proxy, and all that happy jazz. You can find out more at room362.com, which is my blog. You can download Ozyman at doxpara.com. And let's just go into some other evil ideas that have come up. So one of the problems with a pineapple is it doesn't have that much space. So if you're dumping stuff, it only can store it for maybe a fraction of a second before you get anything. Well, what's this DNS tunneling happening? It's going through your home computer. So where can you run all your good stuff? So you put the pineapple somewhere, it's DNS tunneling back, it's sharing out that free internet, and your home computer just might be sniffing all of that in clear text. So, wait, there's one more thing. Double Dragon 3 from the IRC, from the Hackstalkers, actually mentioned something cool over in Denmark and other places. They give free internet little 3G sticks that you pay via a web front end that has DNS working. Oh, yeah. So we'll let you think about that and the legalities of that. But thanks for tuning in. Back to you, Darren.
Alright guys, get ready to play this month's LAN party. We're going to be playing Insurgency Modern Infantry Combat, and you can join us in the game at insurgency.hack5.org on March 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern. And if you're not into the whole insurgency thing, why don't you go over to hack5lan.squarespace.com and sign up and vote, and maybe we will choose your LAN party for the next one. And I gotta thank Squarespace for being one of our sponsors. That was
Perfect.
bad.
Good.
Squarespace is a publishing system for anyone looking to build a blog, a portfolio, any kind of website. They power large businesses to blogs, and Squarespace gives everyone the opportunity to build pages that are just as powerful and flexible as those of the big guys. And if you go to their website, you can get a 2-week free trial. And also, you can use code HACK5, HAK5, for 10% off the life of your contract. Not just 1 year, not just 2 years, the life of your contract. Next up, we have our interview with Tyler McAdams. But first, I want to tell you guys about Revision 3's brand new show, Co-op. It's from those guys that brought you the one-up video game show. They're going to be bringing together journalists and developers, everybody, to talk about video games. So if you're into video games like me, you can check this out every Tuesday at revision3.com. Next up, let's kick it off over to the interview.
So Tyler, how would you define the LinuxDNA project in your words?
So LinuxDNA is a small, agile Linux optimization chop shop. And we do these optimizations through the ICC Intel Linux compiler.
Okay, now when you say ICC, what is ICC to anybody that's not down nitty-gritty with the compilers?
Right, so ICC stands for the Intel C++ Linux compiler. It's a highly optimizing compiler that works with Linux. It also works with Windows, and it works for Mac OS X as well.
Okay, so the LinuxDNA, obviously, is trying to be optimized for gaming. Give me some kind of idea of like how the project works on an end user level.
Okay, so basically LinuxDNA tries to get as personal with the user as possible, and we do that through an optimization that's called PGO, or Profile Guided Optimization. And this optimization basically works in stages. First, we compile a system with profiling information, and then we let an end user use that as a test system. They get on it, they play games, they do their work just like they normally would, and then we take that information that's been profiled, and then we can recompile the kernel with that information for the specific use that these people are using that system for.
So tell me, what's the difference between the kernel here and something that we would see in a distro of the month?
So our kernel is something that is specific to the CPU architecture. Other Linux distributions and Windows as well have to account for multiple architectures, backwards compatibility, things of that nature. What we do is we specialize in the particular CPU that we're optimizing for.
Now, specifically Intel, so what does that mean for anybody on the AMD side of the fence here?
Well, AMD can be optimized for too, actually, and it optimizes very well.
Using ICC?
Using ICC, yes.
Interesting. Now, you were telling me a little earlier about another platform, kind of exciting news here. You want to share with me what's going on with Dream Linux and the Atom?
Right, so we've got an exclusive relationship. I'm happy to announce here for the first time that we're working with Dream Linux. And if you guys haven't seen Dream Linux, you got to check it out, especially for anybody who's working on Windows but wants to move over to Linux. They make it real easy. We've got a project that we're working with them on right now, specifically for the Atom CPU, for netbooks like the Asus EPC. Right now, Linux only has optimizations for the Atom CPU through ICC. GCC right now does not have anything. They have stuff in development, but it's not seasoned like it is for the ICC. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a netbook second to none that's going to be responsive, and it's going to be great for desktop use.
Okay, so does that mean that there's possible gaming on a netbook in the future?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now let's talk about gaming. Is this Is this practical? Is this something that as a gamer you would consider switching over to get, like, can you give me some idea of like maybe some figures or benchmarks of what you would see versus your typical Windows box in, I don't know, pick a game?
Absolutely. So let's start with an oldie benchmark that everybody has plenty of data on, Quake 3. When we optimize a system, we see not even with ICC compiling, we can get 200 frames per second more on average with Linux. So if you're a hardcore gamer and you want a system that you can take to a LAN party and you want to, do nothing but game on this system, you can dual boot into this Linux environment and get a system that's going to be twice as responsive as a system that's based on Windows.
Now, I'm new to Linux on the desktop, played with it for years in embedded devices and whatnot, but just this season took the dive on my actual desktop here, my netbook, if you will. Now, give me an idea as far as the actual titles. Is this a feasible thing, or am I just going to be playing Tux Racer?
Well, yeah, that's kind of the thing in the past is, Linux has kind of been this, second horse. And right now we've got some, exciting events that are developing for the Linux platform. Like in specific, the Steam platform is being ported over to the Linux environment. So yes, in the past it's been, the main titles like Quake 3, Doom, Unreal, but you're going to start seeing a whole lot of games that used to be just Windows titles. They're going to be ported over to Linux.
Okay, so the big names, id and Epic, already on the platform. You're saying Valve is heading over?
Yes, they are.
That's exciting. Now, these optimizations, are they just to the operating system, or can we see any sort of optimizations in the games themselves with the ICC goodness?
Right. So with games, it's a little bit tricky because you've got a lot of closed source titles. These aren't going to be able to be optimized with ICC. However, we can optimize system code, Firefox, for example, but basic system low-level binaries can be optimized with ICC. So in that respect, you will see optimization and performance scaling.
Okay. Now, got to ask you, Wine may not be an emulator, but is it something that would benefit from this?
Absolutely. And Dream Linux excels at Wine. It uses Wine doors, for example, and it does a great job of porting any of the desktop applications that would be, quote, mission critical for Windows over to Linux.
Mm-hmm. So what about, like, is this something that I could use to bring some new life into like an older machine?
Yes, definitely. And the reason behind that is because we can optimize for that specific CPU. There are a lot of CPUs out there. People, money is tight right now, and these CPUs aren't going anywhere. People are going to have to use them for a while, and that's where the LinuxDNA project is going to shine, because we can come in and custom compile and get a new CPU's usage out of an old CPU.
Great. So where can people get involved with the project, or even just play with it themselves?
Right. So I would encourage them to go over to LinuxDNA. We've got the source there. We've got a VM there that they can download and use. Also to go over to dreamlinux.com and download Dream Linux, because it's an awesome operating system.
Cool. I'll check out the live distro.
Awesome.
Well, thanks so much for coming on. I'll be
Darren.
taking a look and seeing maybe we can get some classic Quake 3 gaming going on in a Linux box. That'd be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
My Atom.
Sounds great.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that about wraps it up for this episode of Hack 5. But first, I need to thank our sponsor GoDaddy for our trivia, which we haven't mentioned yet. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy has what you need. .com names as low as $1.99, plus world-class hosting, fast and easy website builders, and much more. Get reliable, secure web hosting without the long-term contract. GoDaddy's hosting plans are bigger than ever, with 99% uptime, 24/7 support, and no annual commitment. And if you use code HACK1, that's HAK1, you can get 10% off your order. Some restrictions apply. See the website for details and get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com. And last week's trivia was, what object-oriented programming language started its life inside an ANSI-based computer game? Tomato Slayer got that right last week with his answer ZZT OOP, which was made by Tim Sweetie for his game ZZT. We are going to be sending Tomato Slayer one of Pronobozo's albums. 0 equals 1 equals everything, and you can check out Pronobozo's music over at pronobozo.com, or you can follow his brand new Twitter over at @pronobozo. Don't forget to head over to hack5.org/trivia for your chance to win this week's giveaway. Or you can head over to /stickers to donate for some awesome Hack5 swag. And last, we have to tell you to check out next week's episode. We got Robin Wood, a hacked fawn, I know you'll love that, and a monkey. Trust your technolust.
Playing hooky. Oh. So good.
We're at the hotspot. I got a son. I can't pay $9.99, so we're gonna do a little DNS tunnel. Bloody. All right, you want to see how to do this? All right, cool.